What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to another episode of Ben Build. We're back on the bench with our Kitty Hawk FJ-2 Fury in 1/48 scale, and I'm going to be pushing forward today, guys, on the rear decking and some of the details on the ejection seat. So that's kind of my goal. Now, last time, which was actually 2 weeks ago, took a little break last Monday. We went ahead and did some work here, opening up some vents. We added some of the wiring for the wing fold mechanisms. We added a lot of little detail here and there, took care of some of the seam lines, and honestly, it looks pretty decent. We're probably going to have to come back though, and after we prime it, fix up a few more seams and maybe even rescribe a couple of panels. But that's okay, because today we're going to focus on the rear decking. This should be easy enough. We'll take a little bit of time though. So what we're going to do is we're going to attempt to add in details that are very much missing in this model. And I don't know why they never really included that. Same thing with the Hobby Boss Fury for the FJ-4. There's just no rear decking details, which is really strange. Now, luckily though, I do have the FJ-2 Fury book, and this does have a nice assortment of line drawings. And it's kind of difficult to pick out what we have here, what we don't have here, because line drawings are a bit difficult to read. But honestly, I think I've got a really good idea about how this goes. We do have to do some detail work on the seat. We've got to drill out some of these areas here on the side. We also have to add in some wiring. We also have to add in this decking that kind of comes off the back of the seat, which from my understanding is actually a radio antenna of some sort. A lot of the early F-86s had that, and then the early FJ-2s had it as well. I've seen the similar details on the FJ-3. I don't know if the FJ-3 would have had that. They might have relocated to the very rear of the decking on the sliding canopy. I don't know for sure. But for the FJ-2, the really early versions will have this cylindrical dome-shaped object that hangs right there behind the seat. That's what we're going to go ahead and try to scratch build today. Now, I'm not sure exactly how we're going to do it, but let's go ahead and cue up a time lapse. We're going to start by working on the seat, drilling out some areas here, adding some wires, and just go to town and see what we can do. So let's kick it into high gear, give it a try. All right, everybody, we are back. And as you can see, we have an approximation for that rear shelf where that antenna is going to end up being glued down. It's not exactly 100% correct, but none of the material back here is going to be 100% correct. It's going to have a general, kind of an artistic license, so it's going to look similar to what I've seen in pictures. But again, I don't really have any super detailed pictures of it. I just have some line drawings and then some distance photos as well. So we're just going to try our best. I've actually taken a part out of a Lag 3 kit, actually just from last season on Ben Builds with Joe. when I built that Lag 3. I didn't use the rockets, and I just chopped off the head of one of those little mini rockets, and I've sanded it down, and I'm going to glue that right down on top of the shelf. Now, I'm not sure exactly if that's 100% correct. It's not the right diameter, probably a little too pointy, a little too tall. And I think what it was is it was a glass dome over some sort of central antenna of some sort. I don't have the option to do that. I don't have any clear plastic that I could use for that. So we're just going to go ahead and paint this silver and maybe give it a tint color of some sort. I think I've heard of it being yellow. We might have to give it a clear yellow. Let's go ahead and test fit it down underneath the glass canopy. That actually works pretty well. The canopy fits perfectly where I need it to be. That's one of the interesting things about this Kitty Hawk kit. Certain parts fit beautifully, other parts don't fit at all. So it's kind of a hit or miss, but this canopy does fit very nicely along the rails. We're going to be able to see most of the details that we're going to add in today. And then of course, this rear little shelf with that antenna on there, all the scratch built details, we will be able to see all of that because this is a very large dome-shaped canopy. So there's a lot of visible area inside. So I want to make this a little busier, a little more interesting. Now, one thing we do have to go ahead and do here is we need to wire this antenna up. Now, to do that, I'm just going to be using some basic 0.3mm solder, nothing too fancy. We're going to glue it down to the underside of the shelf, and then I'm going to take my tweezers and just kind of work it so it has somewhat of a draped appearance. And we have two of them because that's what the line drawing shows. It shows two wires coming up underneath this central dome-shaped object, this antenna. So we're going to go ahead and just glue those down, and then we're going to use our tweezers and, like I said, just kind of coax them into a shape that's similar to what I see in the line drawing. Now again, just using my tweezers, let's go ahead and see if I can't get these things twisted and draped. I really wish I'd been able to find a real photograph of this area and know exactly when they went away from this antenna. I know the F-86s had these, and then the early FJ-2s as well, but I don't know when they discontinued the use of this antenna and they went to something different or they relocated it, because I don't see this on any of the long distance shots of FJ-3s. So I'm not sure when exactly they'd made that transition, if they did at all. Maybe they just pulled out the antenna. I don't really know. But this is going to be fine because, like I said, it shows it in the picture. So we're going to try to replicate that as closely as we can, along with a couple other pictures of the ejection seat. And it may not be 100% correct, like I said, but it's going to be close enough for me. And it's going to give it a little bit of interest and be a bit more eye-catching. Now just go ahead and tack those down to the backside of the actual frame for the chair. Now this isn't really where they probably would have been attached, but we're not going to really see much in there. It's going to be glued down and it's going to be sandwiched up against that back firewall. So you're not going to see where the actual cables will terminate. Now let's go ahead and fit the seat down in the cockpit tub and see how the wires look. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Like I said, it's not 100% correct or perfect, but it's close enough for my eye that I like it. I think that's going to actually do it for that particular part on the seat. But now we have to go ahead and shift over to the rear decking, and that I'm just going to have to just wing it. I had a lot of distance shots and different photos that I'm going to be able to use, but nothing really concrete. So we're just going to give it our best approximation, see what we can do. Back on that time lapse, guys. Let's get it going. Alright everybody, we are back, and as you can see, we have a more or less finished rear decking here, and also that rear shelf on the seat. We've got it all pretty much where I want it. Now, the issue, of course, we ran into was that this isn't accurate. This isn't 100% perfect. It's close enough for my eye, but I know a lot of rivet counters might see that and go, okay, that doesn't look right, or that's not how the Fury was. But again, from reference materials that I have and the images that I've been able to find, this is close enough. Now, I will eventually airbrush the entire area back here, and then I can come in and I can pick out certain wires with black, and I can add maybe some tie downs or something. I'm not too really concerned about it. For me, it looks fine. So we're going to go ahead and call it quits for today. It was a lot of scratch building I did, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and let this sit for a bit, and then I can come back a little bit later. We can paint it, get that all nicely spruced up. But that's going to go ahead and do it for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Until our next episode, stay safe, go out there, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on the next episode of Ben Builds. Thanks so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.